What's up, Tim Moose here. Now, with Sam Raimi coming back to the director's business this week with Sen Help, I decided to go ahead and do my top 10 favorite Sam Raimi directed films because he's always been one of the best. So here is my official top 10. All right, number 10 is A Simple Plan. And no, this is not a biopic about the musicians. This is, of course, where three men who discovers a plane crash filled with cash, setting off a spiral of paranoia, greed, violence that destroy their small, town lives here. It is led by Bill Paxton, Billy Bob Thornton. I've always liked the snowy temp. The whole movie does take place in the wintertime. Richard Fonda was great in this one. A really decent, dark comedy throughout. Really underrated film too, by the way. I feel like this is one of the few Sam Raimi movies that rarely gets talked about, but it's a really decent one. All right, number nine is Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. I really enjoyed this one a lot more than most people did. I mean, I even think it's a tad bit better than the first Doctor Strange. I know that's going to be unpopular to say, but that's just me here. But of course, here you got Doctor Strange who teams up with a powerful multiverse traveler. Uh, you know, while facing terrifying alternate realities. Of course, you got fun cameos, but obviously you got Elizabeth Olsen as Scarlet Witch, seeing John Krasinski coming in as Mr. Fantastic, really good. A lot of great fun fan service, but really cool roles there. I mean, yeah, Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness is a great one. Really fun, still entertaining. Rachel McAdams, of course, comes in here. I mean, crazy to believe this movie came out in 2022. That's insane to believe. Number 8 is the last horror movie he ever directed, Drag Me to Hell. Now, Drag Me to Hell is, of course, about a lone officer who places career ambitious, overcome passion, and becomes cursed by a vengeful old woman, triggering like a nightmarish descent filled with demonic gore, wicked dark humor. It does star Alison Lohman, Justin Long. It is a really creepy Zoe throughout. Great, really good performances by Alison Lohman, who I kind of miss seeing on screen. It's a shame she sort of retired, really. Justin Long, obviously our Scream King, Justin Long is always great. I mean, such a really decent, creepy film that as well we'll watch there. All right, number 7 is Oz Great and Powerful. Of course, this is obviously the prequel to The Wizard of Oz. That is not Wicked, obviously. Where a small time musician is swept into a magical land of Oz, where of course he's mistaken for savior and must choose like between selfishness and heroism here. And you got like James Franco, Mila Kunis, Michelle Williams, Rachel Weisz, Zach Braff is also in this as well. Bill Cobbs, Tony Cox, some really fun cast members. Mila Kunis, I really quite liked, the way she looked as the evil Wicked Witch there. Michelle Williams is terrific. I mean, obviously, I think Wicked is still, is a bit better. But hey, you know what? Oz great and powerful. I just enjoyed this one a whole lot. I really quite like the way Oz looked. James Franco, say what you want now about him nowadays. I know Franco was a pretty good Wizard of Oz. He really plays that part very well. I love the effects here. I mean, it's a much better movie than most people give it credit for. All right, number 6 is Darkman. Word has it we might get a sequel to this, mostly there. But now, of course, like before he ventured into the comic world, he did do Darkman. Starring Liam Neeson, who of course were like after being brutally attacked by gangsters. He played, of course, Neeson plays like scientist Peyton Westlake, who becomes like a disfigured vigilante who uses skin and rage for justice to hunt down those who destroyed his life here. And Liam Neeson is great. Frances McDormand is great. One of the most like underappreciated comic book movies in my opinion. Obviously this came out around a time where comic book movies were still trying to find its foot in the door, and this is a really fun one here. The sequel is also good, but the first one is actually pretty fun if you guys ever seen that. All right. Now you know what? 5, 4, and 3 are pretty much gonna be the same films here, really. Number 5 is of course Evil Dead 2. Which I really quite enjoyed. Evil Dead 2, definitely a really decent follow-up to the first Evil Dead, where Ash fights off demonic possessions in a cabin as reality breaks down to slapstick chaos here. a really decent you know first and second sum there. Then number four is Army of Darkness, which is of course the dirtiest sum of the Evil Dead films, where Ash is transported into medieval times, where of course he must retrieve you know the Necromorphicon and battle like an army of the dead to return home here. And this movie is a lot of fun. Definitely one of the better medieval movies there is. Bruce Campbell's great as Ash Williams. Uh, MF Davis, who I still always remember as Miss Honey from Matilda. She was really good in this as well. Such a really decent Dirty Some of the Evil Dead films. Number three is, of course, the Evil Dead. Which obviously is the one that really put Sam Raimi on the map for most people. Where five friends vacation at a remote cabin where they accidentally unleash a demonic force after playing a mysterious tape from this Necromorphicon. And it's definitely one of like the best horror movies there is of the 80s. Bruce Campbell really put Bruce Campbell on the map for most people. Does such a good job throughout here. It's such a good one. Great performances here. Great like really fun bloody stuff throughout. Such a really good one there. And of course, we do got a new Evil Dead movie coming out this year, but obviously he did not really direct the other Evil Dead movies, which it would be cool one of these days he could come back to direct an Evil Dead film. But all right, number two is Spider-Man. Now, Spider-Man, of course, stars Tobey Maguire as a high school student, Peter Parker, who gains superpower abilities after being bitten by a genetically modified spider. And of course, you got Willem Dafoe as Green Goblin. This really set the record for one of the best comic book movies there is. It really was like one of the earliest, comic book films we got in the 2000s. It was a generous, quintessential comic book movie there is. And Tobey Maguire's great. James Franco, obviously. Willem Dafoe. Such really good, cast of characters there. And my number one favorite is obviously Spider-Man 2. The first Spider-Man is great, and I actually don't mind Spider-Man 3. It's not in my list or anything. It is actually in my honorable mention. I don't actually mind it as most people did, but I think the top 10 in this list is a tad bit better. But Spider-Man, of course, the best is actually Spider-Man 2. Alfred Molina as Dr. Octopus, one of the best like fight scenes on the subway is always one of my favorites. Alfred Molina just plays his part perfectly. Obviously, Tobey Maguire is great. Kristen Dunst, such really fun, action sequences. They really, amp up the action perfectly for this second one, and it is definitely one of the best comic movies there is. One of the best sequels there. One of my, probably still up there as one of my favorite Spider-Man movies there is too. So, such a really good one there. But that's pretty much it. Here's my quick rundown. Number 10, A Simple Plan. 9, Doctor Strange and Multiverse of Madness. 8, Drag Me to Hell. 7, Oz, Great and Powerful. 6, Darkman. 5, Evil Dead 2. 4, Army of Darkness. 3, The Evil Dead. 2, Spider-Man. And number 1 is Spider-Man 2. Now, his other credits, his first movie was the 1979 movie called It's Murder. Crime Wave. Let's see. The Quick and the Dead that he did with Leo DiCaprio. That's a pretty good one. For the Love of the Game, which is the baseball movie with Kevin Costner and Kelly Preston. The Gift. But if you want to talk about his producing credits, he's produced like The Grudge. He's produced the Poltergeist remake. He's done some really good producing stuff here too. So anyway, let me ask you guys, what are some of your favorite Sam Raimi directed films? Drop comments below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, hit that bell for notification. This is Sam Raimi.